Hello!
Hello, Millie here.
And Kaisa here. Welcome to our second podcast session, which theme is empowerment in the profession. And why we wanted to have this kind of topic is because I personally, as a gardener, have seen that gardeners don't have that much to say. I mean, we have a lot to say, but we don't really say that in public, unlike teachers or people working on art or on healthcare. These people demonstrate and they demand more salary, and they are more respected also because of that. But gardeners kind of like stay in the bush and hide. So I would like to change that, and that's why we have asked a wonderful speaker, Anne Pauna, to join us today. Anne is a paramedic and a passionate social activist. Pauna got tired of the low salaries on her industry, and based on a brief chat with her colleagues, they together launched a citizens' initiative. In just 2 weeks, 50,000 names were gathered. Since that, Pauna has talked on numerous podcasts and TV and is an influencer on social media. So, Pauna comes to tell us why everyone should get into action and start talking about their industry's work conditions. She will inspire us by telling how we can get empowered on impacting by giving value to our profession. So, welcome. Here is Anne.
So, I'm Anne Pauna. Most of you probably don't know who I am because you don't work in the same field as I do, apparently. But I'm a paramedic by profession. So that's why, it doesn't exactly tell anything yet, but I used to study in the university, and then I decided that I'm not kind of PhD material, that I need to work where I can use my hands, and I'm too social to be inside the library to study, so I should do something else. And I needed some action, so I decided I'll become a paramedic. So that's action a lot. But when I was younger, I thought I want to be involved in politics, so I tried to get involved with politics, but then I decided it's too much of a brother society where you need to know someone to know someone to know someone to access some potential to go and change the world. So I decided I'll just focus on, and I was really active on like UN youth societies. Yeah. So I was doing kind of like activism by then, but like kind of not political activism. So I became a paramedic, and I went to work in a hospital, and then I noticed that what was wrong with the field. And I graduated 2017, and I was working first in the ER in Malmi, which has a kind of bad reputation, but it's an interesting working place. And then I went to work for an ambulance, and then I went to this huge hospital, if you know, in Meilahti, which is like the university hospital. And then the COVID year began, 2020. And I noticed with my fellow co-workers that people are tired, even before the corona came. People are tired. The basic salary for a registered nurse or a paramedic who has studied for 4 years for a bachelor's thesis is 2,400. And then you work for 5 years, and then you get a 3% like upgrade, which means like 70 euros. So when you have been 5 years in a hospital working, your basic salary is 2,479 approximately, the basic salary per month. Then you, of course, you get money if you work in the evening shift or night shift. For night shift you get 40 euros, and for an evening shift you get like 5 euros. And then Saturdays you get 15% more, so I think it's like 10 to 15 euros. And then Sundays we have what everyone in Finland has, you get the double salary. So the only day when you should work is Sunday, because then you get the double salary. Yeah. So if we compare this to a doctor's, if a doctor comes to ER to work for like an extra shift from 4 till 10, which is out of the office hours, which is always more expensive. They might get thousands of euros per one night. We get €5. So it's a bit different story. Well, people were quite tired. People were always complaining that, we don't have enough of money. Most of the people don't have what is like permanent, that is, you only get working contracts that are for some period. So that means when you go to a bank and you would like to buy a house in Helsinki, they say, but you only have short contracts. You don't actually have a working place. And they say, well, they always continue it. They just don't give me the indefinite contract. So there was a lot of people were unhappy already before the corona came. So then the COVID hit and it came, and I was working in the ICU. So what they said is that our ICU unit is gonna become a COVID unit by tomorrow. So tomorrow you'll be ICU COVID nurses, and we were gonna be what? Okay, that's cool. And there was no raising the salary. So me and my colleagues, we were sitting in the coffee room, and we were how long are we gonna put up with this? Seriously, the salary is 2,419. If we are engineers who have the same length of education, they get over 3,000, and we are saving human lives. And regardless of where you work, the salary is same. So if you work in Lapland, it's the same. If you work in Helsinki, it's the same. If you compare the rents in Rovaniemi, 1/3 of the rents that we have here in Helsinki. So we were thinking this is not fair. So we were sitting there and we were are we gonna complain? Are we gonna retire from this? That we're gonna complain for the next 40 years. And then we decided not. So what we did is that we did this kind of kansalaisaloite. Is it
citizen initiative?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So which anyone can do it in Finland, but you need to get 50,000 signatures, so it will go to the parliament. So we just sat down and we were okay, it requires 5 people to do it so that you can get it done. We were 3 first, and we were who are we gonna ask? Someone who's angry enough to do this with us. So we were 5 young nurses, and we decided that, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna write it. So we wrote it, and usually the citizen initiative is done. So do you want to change the legislation, like the trans laws, for example, they've done the same. But we didn't have a law that we wanted to change. We just said we need more money. We should be paid more. Basically, everyone is saying that, well, the parliament doesn't, decide how much you get money, but they decide how much they give money to these districts that help, give the money to the hospitals. They do that. And basically, there's been in 1920s or something like that, there was a law that women should only earn 80% of men's salary. So there is a possibility, but it to go through now, it's not possible. So we did that. In 2 weeks, we got the 50 signs. And we were just people drinking coffee, and we were angry that, is this what we're going to do? Complain? Or are we going to do something? And we got it. We didn't have any money. We didn't know anyone, who would be famous, or who would, give us some backup, or who would, shout out for us. We just put it out on the Instagram and Facebook that, hey, we did this. And then it started spreading, because the COVID had just come, and everyone was talking about nurses' salaries and nurses' work, which has radically changed at that time. So we didn't have we felt we had nothing to do to touch anything of our rights here in Finland. You might know that we have these, what is Tehy? It's
workers' union.
Yeah, we have workers' unions, but at the moment they are threatening again having strikes at the moment, and they are not receiving money. The nurses, the other ones in the municipal level, they already agreed, but the Tehy and Super, which are for the registered nurse and practical nurses, the associations, they said they will not sign the contracts unless we get more money. But at the same time, the Doctors Association got them 12% upgrade in 4 years. So when the doctors decide to have something, they get it. It's not a negotiation on the news, should they have it. They get it, because everyone understands it's a big profession and it has a lot of work. But the problem is that because they've been having more and more work from them has been given to us, but we didn't get the money for the work that they used to do. So we've been promoting, and this civil, what was it called again? Initiative, which we did. it has given us quite a lot of space in the media. But since we are all 5 young women, we are called like active ladies or like puuhanaiset. It's like, I don't know, it's really like not an upgrading term. And everyone's always telling like they did this, but they don't actually know what they're doing because the parliament doesn't say how much they should earn. And we were like, no, this new law that is coming next year, that is hyvinvointialue, it's like they've changed the money to the hospitals comes directly from the parliament. So they could say that they give more and it should be given to us. And they think we don't understand this, but they are saying that we are kind of stupid and working. And this is giving us more fuel to work because they seem to be thinking we're a little bit stupid girls who are running around. So that's why, like, I feel like we empowered the whole nursing system by showing that we can actually have a huge voice. When we went to the parliament to, kind of show the initiative, it was this kind of tasa-arvoinen työelämä. So it's like, there's like different kind of slots in the parliament. So they have like working groups, I would say so. So we went to the equality and work-life group to meet them. There's like different kind of, from different parties, different kind of ministers and different kind of, there were only 6 came to listen to us. They were not even enough so that they could vote. Only 6 came, and we became even more angry. That is this the amount you appreciate us? That you don't even come to listen to us. So it gave us more fuel to the flames that we want to work more and more. So what we do is we take all the media plays that there has been. I've been on like a few TV shows where I go and I explain, and the more I explain, the people who are working in the same field, they kind of share it on the social media, like they understand, and we all know our rights. And it's giving like this movement. People are now resigning more. There's like this summer this is not our intention to, make people resign from their work, but it's also to say at some points enough is enough. And the only way to kind of affect off your work is to stop doing it. Because if the boss is not listening, then sometimes it's better to step back and go away. So there's been a extremely stressful summer, and I'm now working as a team leader in home care. So I'm like a boss of myself, and I know what it is in reality, and I try to fight for my workers' rights. But as in my position, I do not decide how much my workers get salary. So I need to do the politics like off time, on my free time, so that we could affect that they would get more salary. And then my job is to try to politically influence that all the things that happen around our working place would improve the environment, they would be more healthy, which is a difficult job. But the most important lesson I've learned is that nobody who doesn't live the reality where you live doesn't understand what you do. Most of the people say, you're just nurses, anyone could be. And I'm like, I was 4 years in a school. If you can do what I do, go and do it. I'm not taking any job as a nurse anymore. So it will be yours to take. And they are like, yeah, but come on, we cannot pay that much money. But then you have to decide who will die, because at the moment we will not go to work. And people will do. You can go to work to a shop and earn as much as we earn. But you don't have to think that this patient is dying in the shop. It's not your responsibility. So that's what's been like the big problem. So my main focus, if you feel like in your field, like I would say I don't know anything about gardening, except I used to have a little place in Helsinki where I gardened my potatoes, but I don't have time for that anymore. Thanks to politics. No. So nobody else understands what you're living and what is the problem in your field. And when you tell it to one, you need to tell it to the second one and the next one you meet, because they don't understand it either. And some of the politicians, they think that they are on our side. They are doing the stuff for us. And then you're like, no, that's not good politics, what you've been doing. It's not good at all. This, like the system we're having now, the shortage of nurses, it was already known by the 80s. There will be 3 times more elderly people by the 2030 than we have now. And most of the nurses will, they are too old to work at that time. So they will retire, and they should be able to, stay at home and enjoy the last, I don't know how many years they have left, but anyways, at home. But now the fact is that they've been earning so little that if they, for example, live in Helsinki, they still have to go work because they don't have money to, survive here. So the problem is that we've already known in the 1980s that this thing will blow up, that we will have so many elderly people, and the old people nowadays, because we can keep them alive much longer. They live longer, they eat more medication. Because, you know, like 50 years ago, people didn't live that long. They died at 65 for a heart attack. Now we can treat it. We can give them another heart. We can get a heart from Denmark, and then we come here in the midnight, and then we give it to someone, and he can live 40 years more. So, like, the things that we do there in Meilahti, in the big hospital, it's like the most amazing medicine you can ever see. And we can keep people alive. But the problem is that there's going to be, like, more people to treat and less nurses. And now we've seen that 25% less people even apply to nursing school. And now what has happened, since we are doing the politics a lot and people are talking about the problems, people are saying that, okay, you are kind of creating negative energy. Nobody wants to come. And I was like, is that the thing? We're telling the truth, but nobody listens. So my first rule is, if you want to try to get like a civil movement, is to keep telling. So if you told one person, it's not enough because the next one doesn't understand. So you need to tell everyone and repeat, because people don't listen actively. So they kind of listen a word from there and then from there, and then they're like, yeah, you don't need the money, you need better bosses. And I said, no, first you need to get the money, and then we can solve the other problems inside the hospitals. There are a lot of problems in the, like, management problems. There's a lot of problems in hospitals, because mainly hospitals are led by doctors, and they do not actually know what we do for living. So then the decision by the doctor, it might take, like, if in a hospital like where I would work, and we would need something, and we would need the permission for that, it goes like 4 to 10 steps higher, and there sits a doctor who says, can we have it? And he doesn't know what we do for living, basically. He might understand the medicine, but he doesn't know what we do as registered nurses. So it's a quite long way. We cannot decide that, okay, this would help us as nurses to treat our patients better. Could we have it? It takes 10 steps further, where we need to go and try to be nice and say, we would need this. So that's like another issue. But I was having a good list, and then I always talk so much that I forget what I was saying. Yeah, so keep on talking and then get friends. You know, making things alone is really, really tough. When we made the citizen initiative, then we called for ministers and members of the parliament that, shall you have a Teams with us? You sit down, we sit down, you'll give us 45 minutes, we'll tell you what we are trying, we tell you the reality. And it's really hard when somebody who's never worked in the hospital, who doesn't know anything, tells you that you're wrong. And you're like, I'm not wrong, I'm just telling you about the other day at the work, where I was physically, me, there, we were all there, and this is all that happens there. And they're like, this is not the problem really. So when you get depressed, you cannot just like quit. You need to go again and again and again. And there's been times when we've been crying that, hey, come on, we told you what's happening, we told you what should be done. Are you going to work with us or against us? And they're like, this is not my cup of tea. And then you're like in Helsinki, 51% of the budget of the Helsinki city, it goes to the healthcare and social and healthcare sector. So if you have a person who is a politician in Helsinki city, and it says he doesn't care, or she doesn't care, mainly they were he, doesn't care about the social and the healthcare, it's not their cup of tea. So how is he going to spend the 51% of the money? He doesn't understand where it goes, but he gets to vote where it goes and how it is used. But it's not his, strongest point. And that's why we're doing lobbying, that somebody would actually understand, but most of the people. So if you want to do something, then you need to get friends, so that when there's the time when it's tough, you can have the friends and you can have the tea and you can, chat about something else, what's making happy in the life, because it's tough. But I would say it pays off, because I think that the more we get like this, it doesn't have to be in the media, it needs to be going around at the moment, I think, in this society, in the social media, so that people will know the reality, because there we can share and we can do a lot. But yeah, so that's my kind of thoughts of the few past years. So we're still waiting. So we made the citizen initiative 2020. We still have no solution what they're going to do about it. It's like hanging somewhere hanging somewhere, and we are not patiently waiting, but we're sending their emails that please could you tell us when is the next hearing, could we come there, what do you need, is there still something. But it's kind of a hot potato because the last spring there were the strikes and now there's going to be strikes again, so we hope that we don't have to shut down the whole system until they see how important we are.
Thank you and bye bye.
Bye bye.